We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
If you would have asked me maybe 10, 15 years ago, if I was really concerned about the fact that I'm a single guy, I've been single all my life. I would have really been kind of irked about that. It would have pissed me off. I would have been frustrated. I would have been angry about it. It's one of those things where it's been so long. I had a friend of mine, we were talking today, a couple hours on the phone. And I was going through the things about, the fact that he's been married for a long time. I want to say 30 years, 25, 30 years. And it's like, yeah, dating sucks now. We know that. But it's not even the word dating sucks. We were feeling like that, going back to dating apps and then dating sites. Because I've lived through all the technology that changed for dating, okay? In the 90s, early 90s, you could go and write a personal ad in the newspaper. That used to happen. And then we had the various chat sites, phone calls. You would go ahead and go on a chat line. There was one we had called 802-DATE. And back in the mid-90s, 96, 97, 98, they actually had a free service where if you called in there and everybody could go on there and meet each other. And you would go ahead and listen to voice ads of people that are looking to date. You were looking for men seeking women, women seeking men, men seeking men, whatever. You'd go through that, and there were a lot of them. You had LiveLink, Quest Personals, Tango Personals, and they were all really good. Quest Personals was the best. That's like the king of all of them. And they even had a dating app for a little while to try to do the same thing, to keep up with the fact that they were losing ground to the dating apps that came after that. And then we had eHarmony, and we had Match. We had Yahoo Personals and AOL Instant Messenger in the late 90s. Then it translated more where Match took over, and then Match Group came in, and then we got to the apps. And by the time we got to the apps 10 years ago, Tinder comes into play, and then everything just changes. OkCupid was around, Badoo, all these other ones. And things just got progressively worse. Now, there was probably a time where people saw, like, okay, say if you had a single guy that and he looks at a girl going out with a guy, and you're seeing, okay, it's a pretty girl with this guy, and then if it was a nice guy, or if it was a guy like myself, 15, 20 years ago, I would have said, why isn't she with me? I should have that girl. And that's what I felt like, right? It's like that kind of deservedness, right? Entitlement. Well, stupid. But I did feel that way. And then I was thinking to myself, well, do I think that way right now? No. I see plenty of couples together. And actually, it took me about 10 years ago. It was actually it was more than that. 12, 13 years ago. In my mid-30s. And I went ahead and saw a therapist for the second time. Only one visit. And I was saying to myself, I went there, I got nothing from the appointment. Hell, I didn't even pay for it. And I came out and I was saying, man, I shouldn't care about this anymore. And I started just thinking about the fact that at that point, 15 years ago, or it was 10, 12 years ago. So say like right before iPhones, right before apps, it was already getting to the point where the dating sites were already starting to go downhill and dwindle. They were not doing that well. They weren't as successful as they were before because, honestly, more damaged people were on there, like myself. And then I go ahead and I look now and I say, if I see a guy with a girl now, I'm just saying to myself, social media changed everything. The perception of what you do, who you're doing it with, it's changed everything. To put somebody that you're with front and center onto social media, look at what we did. Here's where we went. This is what I had for dinner. This is where we went to go shop. This is where we did this. We traveled here. We traveled there. It's not even about the personal one-on-one experience anymore. And who are the ones that are doing that the most? The women. The women are doing that where they're kind of, okay, let's put pictures up there. Let's put pictures up. Let's put videos up. Let's put some reels, all of that. Let's put some filters on it, whatever. And it changed. It's not gotten any better. And now we're at the point where, like, I mean, how many stories do I have to talk about with the 48 oysters girl, or the story about the 27 things you can't do on a first date, one of them being Cheesecake Factory. That's a body thing we talked about the week before, and body count. This is all bullshit. We just have more interference now to what once was the dating game. The dating game used to be, listen, you might not have been your complete honest self because you're just starting to get the feel of getting to know somebody. You might not, open up completely about yourself, but you gave a little bit of yourself, a little bit of humanization to see if you got somebody's interest. And you dated. You date 3, 4, 5 times, whatever. And then maybe you hook up and maybe there's sex and then there's a relationship. I mean, it still happens now, but the way it is today, the investment of doing that. Look, I'm going to tell you that if you would have talked to me 20 years ago when I was listening to, 2008, 2009, in my market, where I'm here in South Florida, we actually had the Tom Leykis show. Okay. He's still on somewhere in streaming, but he did teach a lot of young guys like me. And listen, I know, misogynist, sexist. I got it. But there were just certain things that he said where he was recognizing what guys were going through already. And he used to have the tenets of Leykis 101. And they were pretty set for the fact that he saw what was going on of what was all happening. Right? And that's what happened. It was like, that was the thing where you realize something was going wrong with everything that was going on with comes to all of the boundaries we as guys just kept throwing away. Like, we needed to set up boundaries for ourselves. The women already put up boundaries in the dating game anyway. We wouldn't let ourselves go and then go to an extreme to where now guys are willing to go ahead and get together with a girl, and it's not a friend zone. Like, talk about the ultimate friend zone, not even a personal physical friend zone, but what is the friend zone online? Becoming a simp to someone that you're not even close to. But there's a big boundary right there. And then there's like a payment to get to that. And everything, I mean, you could have used money when you were dating to try to go flash and show off, but the money now is ineffective too. Because of the idea, well, women can get their own money. Okay. But then after that, there's nothing left for the guy at all to impress or to persuade or to lull or to, infatuate a woman into getting together with them in a relationship or just going to bed with them. Like, that is starting to go by the wayside. Remember, it's not even now where your everyday guy could use whatever resources he had at his disposal, and by what all means necessary, without, having consent from the girl. You have to do that, right? That's a given. But you used to do things where you played the dating game to get the girl. But the dating game has now been ruined because politics, because, the thought process on social media, like the amplification of messages that are to take down guys and to also just not let guys get a chance to win. And then the only guys that get a chance to get it are fuckboys or guys that, successful, but they don't worry about this game. So the thing is, the women that are trying to go after the most desirable men, those guys don't give a shit about the dating game. And they don't give a shit about you women. And very rarely are you going to be able to get that guy and hold on to him. So ladies, no matter how beautiful you think you are, and there's a lot of beautiful women, I have a very large gauge to who I find beautiful. But if you're not supermodel, if you're not skinny, you're a little bit chubby, got a little muffin top going, hey, and you think you're going to go get the hunk that all these other girls are going to get, it's delusional. And you're not going to win. See, the dating game is no longer the guys playing it. It's the women playing it. They're playing this game that's, you can't play, you can't win. There's no competition to it. It's just, now it's a thought that, well, women have to play the game. They run the rules, but the rules don't make any sense. And the women always lose. Because if you even go after the most desirable, the 1%, 2%, 3% of guys, you're going to get disappointed by them. And if you don't get disappointed by them, you're going to get disappointed by them because you're not even going to get to them. You will not get to them. You're letting those guys have all the carte blanche to go ahead and snub you, use you, manipulate you, and throw you away. Okay, when Tom Michaels used to talk about the depository, right? Women would be like a urinal. That's basically what these guys are treating you like. Now, if you don't mind being treated that way just to get what you want, whether it's money or clout or some kind of experience, then they're doing that. But that makes you no better than a woman on OnlyFans or a sex worker just using your body. Because essentially, it's not going to be anything else that this desirable guy will want you for. It's going to be because you have a body and that he wants to fuck. And that's it. It will be nothing else. If that's all you want to be, is prostituting yourself to the most desirable guys, then that's what you're going to do. But then you make yourself not desirable to the rest of the guys who will be around after you fuck up. Now, there's a lot of women that'll be this way, but I know there's plenty of women that are not. There are a lot of good, wholesome, wonderful, amazing, beautiful women that get wifed up quickly. The good women do not hang around for long. They don't get to be around for long. And honestly, the guys that are smart about it, they find a good woman at early an age. If it's a high school sweetheart, they're going to hang on to them. If the guys are smart, they realize this woman's really good. I need to hold on to her because you don't want to be in the dating pool. Guys, you in the teens and 20s. If you have a girl and she is like amazing, I implore you to pay attention to what you're doing and take the advice from Old King of Podcasts here. You need to go ahead and hold on to this girl because now you have to be mature enough sooner to realize when you have something good that you can't let get away. More important than ever. And maybe you're not going to be able to go and get them wifed up, but I'll tell you what, you need to hold on to them and do whatever it takes to win their love because they're going to go to somebody else. There are those good women that will get picked up and will be swept away. In America, there's only so many of those. They're going to be church going, very family oriented, had both parents in the family, raised right, lots of love, lots of this inspiration, just being empowered and confident and just easy to talk to, easy to get to know, easy to just be around. And when you have a woman like that just circles around your life, you just want to be around her. You want to be with her. You can't see your life without her. You need to hold on to her, hold her tight, and don't let her go. And do whatever it takes. Because that's when you put the money down. That's when you're going to put the investment and the time and the effort and the resources and everything and take the sacrifice earlier on. Because the game to go out and go just hook up, it's not playing like that anymore. You want to go for that? Go right ahead, but it's getting worse. It's not like it used to be. You just can't have a bunch of guys go out and go find some girls to go hook up with. It's just not that easy anymore. Remember the environment now. We used to have nightclubs where you used to go and bump up. You dance. Nobody dances anymore. The only places you go to clubs where there are at all are strip clubs. The women already have it figured out. They got the money to go into the strip clubs, pay the girls when they're dancing up there, and then the guys have to go through parking, go through the 2-drink minimum or whatever else, and they have to keep paying for the girls they're not giving a shit about up on stage to talk to the girls they want to talk to. So the guys are already screwed. They have to pay such a paywall just to get access to the girls who can also just take your drink, take your attention, and just snub you and walk right out. And you can't do a damn thing about it. You're not going to get close to her. You're not going to be able to do anything with her. You're not going to get their hookup later on. If you do, good luck. But you're not getting that far. Not with this. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So back in the day, Like Us 101 were these following tenets, just a handful of them. Never, ever date a single mother. Because by that point, a woman already has a single mother. You're going to have to take care of her baby or her child. And the time you're going to have for her, there's not going to be much time. And then the baby daddy. You're going to have to deal with all that. It's too much of a headache. Once it's done, you want to go ahead and, have sex with a single mother. You want to go ahead and have something where you're just like, you're not attached, but you can't just date or marry or just anything like that. It just doesn't work that way. Next, never do what you don't want to do. You make the money to decide where you are going and what you are doing. Well, guys have thrown that out the window. To go from bottomless to mimosas to brunches to all this other big expensive concerts. The fact that someone don't like Cheesecake Factory, you have to go take them to some fancy restaurant. Like it's all this disposable experiences that don't mean anything. The food is mid and it's nothing special. And the environment, you have to go get dressed. Listen, for those girls that want to go in here in Florida, go take you out to go to the green market on like Saturdays and Sundays, piping hot. You're up there like get dressed up like you're going out to play polo or watch polo or some shit. You got to get all dressed up. You're sweating to death. You got to go and you got to walk with this girl. Who knows if she got dogs or she got some other stuff that she's got you carrying along, all this shit. And you're out there for hours and you're doing nothing. Oh, you might be missing a football or sports or doing something else. Like maybe you're doing your own thing, like working out or, self-improvement or just hanging out with some friends. You're giving up all that for the girl. Oh, go to some rooftop bar or whatever in the middle of the day or whatever it is. Like it's stupid. Don't ask a woman what she wants to do. Like you want to make the plans, but now we're already realizing that the plans are not working anymore because now these girls think, well, they're up at a higher echelon because of what kind of money they make or what kind of career choice they have. That well now they're just going to bring up ideas that only they want to go to, but they don't want to go alone. They don't want to go with their girlfriends. They'll take a guy along. No. Never tell a woman how much money you make. Well, now it's the point where you hear all these girls talk about like, what kind of income do you need your guy to have? $100,000, $250,000, $500,000. What? The podcasters, the alpha male podcasters, the guy on the street, interviews. It's complicated. All these people, you're hearing these kind of questions and answers. Now, it might not be the whole ticket for everybody out there, but social media amplifies it. And if it's heard on social media and you see it, you hear it, sounds like it's real. And a lot of people are going to believe that's the norm. It might not be, but it could very well be. That's not good either. But we're at that point now where, be careful. Be careful because we're going to get to that point soon enough. The old rule, this is going back, 2004, by the way. Never spend more than $40 in a day. Zero optimal, Tom Leggett used to say. And, it was one of those things where at that time, you just don't spend that much money. Now, these days, you can say, well, how about make it $100? Because right now, prices are going up. But it's not really much anyway. It's like, all right, what are you going to do? Right now, the money that you spend, it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't go as far as it used to. Because there's this manipulation now. Like, you just can't go take a girl on a sushi date or just go out, go drinks and go coffee. They're making the point where it is not allowed. That you can't do that at all. And that's stupid. It can't be that way. It can't be that way. But that's what they've decided to go and do, and it's stupid. Now, next, never put your woman in a club who has her girlfriends with her. And that's the part where, the girlfriends with her, it's like you used to go and do that where, okay, you find a girl that might be heading to the bathroom, coming back. You just catch her on the path, not following her, but follow her, like sit in a spot. And on the path to the bathroom, you go ahead and like try to flag her down either when she's coming out or going in. But that doesn't happen either. Like, it was not easy to go ahead and talk to the girls at the club anywhere where it's like all loud. And it's worse when you're going to a strip club, if that's where you're going to go. But the clubs right now, everybody's all crammed together. Everybody's up against the wall. Nobody's dancing together. Like the one thing you would get a girl out to go ahead and talk to her alone was to go out and dance. Well, that's not even allowed anymore because the music's not right and nobody's out there doing it. The clubs are just something else, like bottle service and VIP service and all this. Like, that's the other part. It's this clout chasing, status seeking, Instagram for the gram kind of approach. And I'm like, that doesn't work. And it's not real. It's not real. Next is, if you're not getting laid by the third date, dump her and move on. No spooning, no cuddling, no staying over. Get in and get out. Well, if you're even to get in there now, I mean, there may be girls that I have their own place, and guys are looking so much to have a girl over to their place. I don't know. But that's advanced. Like, you're still trying to get the girl to where you are. The pickup game used to be a thing. Pickup artists. And some of that persuasion and, working around and shuck and jive used to work, but that's thrown away. We don't have those days like that anymore either. That's all done. And then the other thing he says was never be in a committed relationship until you are 25 or really ready to settle down. Well, I think Tom Likas will realize, you know what? Nobody's paying attention to the marriage thing anymore. It's starting to dwindle. Look at this. Taking a story from the Fort Worth Star Telegram, and there was an opinion piece that came out back in September. Where have all the good men gone? Women still need you. And a Pew Research study at that time talked about that 60% of young men are single, nearly twice the rate of unattached young women. 3 of every 10 U.S. adults aren't in a relationship of any kind, married, dating, or engaged. 34% of women and 63% of men are single. And the number of sexually active Americans is at a 30-year low. So the thing is, in this story, half of single men aren't even looking for a relationship. So the ones that would have taken the Likas 101 course 20 years ago, doesn't matter anymore. They've all checked out, given up. Some of them become passport bros or something else. But forever single is now a standard. It's just a way of life now. It's like dating doesn't even matter anymore. Now, for the young girls and guys out there, you need to go anyway and see what happens. Listen, when you're young, you're going to high school, you're going to college, you want to be able to go ahead and try your best as soon as you can to court and have time to go ahead and date, or maybe having relationships with the girls you can get together with right then and there that have not been brainwashed or construed to think that they have to be career women and this new ideology that, we don't need guys. We don't need this and that. And if you're going to go out with me, pony up, pay up. Where's your wallet? What's your bank account? Like, it's when you get the girls that are getting to that point and they're getting younger and younger, once you get to that point and that's all you're getting, for a couple of reasons. Number one, that's been ingrained in their head. Number two is because they've gone through being abused and used and manipulated because they went after the desirable, most wanted guys out there, and they were all burned. And now they're bitter, and now they're angry, and now they're just going to take it on anybody else. So when they can't get the guys they want because they're undesirable to those guys, and they've just been used up, they're going to go out, they're going to let the average guys approach, but with a big fat paywall. Now, you don't have to believe me. And of course, you don't have to agree with me. But that is how things are. Okay? When guys used to take the girls out and there would be maybe a guy that would go and try to talk up a girl, guys realize now that, you know what? If there's a guy talking to your girl, he's probably not going to stay around and talk to her long. He might just say something. But most guys, if you think you're going to get jealous because some guy's talking up your girl, I don't think he wants to go ahead and take her off of you and spend on her because he already knows what she's getting you to spend on her. That's the other part. It's not even a matter of the girl wants to take you out to go do this and that. No, now it's the stuff that you got to go do that's stupid. It's like baby showers, green markets, brunches. No, absolutely not. Just go out shopping. And they're these places that are just undesirable, right? Big festivals. No, if you don't want to go, you don't need to go. And you also don't want to be going attached to someone that you're not getting anything from, right? You're not getting some. And you're just getting dragged along. Guys need to realize the warning shots sooner and not put their investment out there when a girl's she's not going to spend her money on you. She wants to be able to spend your money and keep all the money she's making. Whatever career that she's in, that's what she wants. It's a bigger story. And only a certain amount of guys have that now. There was a story that was put in here that they talked to an author here that talks about that men in their 20s are more likely than women in their 20s to be romantically uninvolved, sexually dormant, friendless, and lonely. They stand at the vanguard of an epidemic of declining marriage, sexuality, and relationships that afflicts all young America. Do you understand this? This is a problem. But who's going to turn this around? This little podcast can't do it. I can make you aware. I'm not going to be able to fix it. What I am going to do is make you aware of it. Be smarter. Pay attention. And other cultures outside of the U.S., pay attention. This can spread. Okay? This Western philosophy that's going on here, it can go everywhere else eventually. You don't want that. We don't need to see that. Forget online dating. And honestly, if you are going to get together with someone, at this point, I said this before. I said this on an episode months ago. The idea that women should take their shot and ask a guy out. You ladies, it's that time now. You want a guy to go out with you and you want him to give you a chance. You now have the control. The keys are in your pocket. Okay. You have all the choices, and that's fine. You have all the choices. You're entitled to those choices. That's how women are supposed to have it, right? So you know what? You need to start asking guys out. Now, if you still want them to go ahead and pay and do the whole thing, well, you need to go ahead and start making the initiative. No more cues, no more, intuitions, no more kind of giving kind of subtle hints. No, flat out. You tell them you like them. You ask them out. Take me out sometime. You might as well do that. That's the only way we're going to curb this now. So women, if you're tired of, I see enough young, beautiful, pretty girls on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or wherever that are upset and they're not able to get the guys they want. And there's a lot of single women that want to go out. You're going to have to start asking. The guys like me, we're not going to budge. We're not going to ask anymore. I used to be so rampant on asking girls out on a regular basis. And now I stopped. I gave up. I don't even try to flirt. It's like, and honestly, like I've had to tell girls if I'm talking, like I'm just trying to be nice because I'm just like that. I'm just being myself. I literally have had to, I remember there was a girl I talked to and I was like, I'm telling you, I'm not hitting on you. And I had to say that I'm not hitting on you. I mean, some women that just think that's like the old fashioned thing. I'm like, okay, I can't be nice. I just got to shut up. No, I'll be myself. I'm going to go ahead and communicate. I'm going to be expressive. The other part too is that, you're not going to just bump into some girl or guy when they got headphones on. Like, listen, I got earbuds in my ear almost all the time when I go out, whether I'm walking, working out, or whether I'm just, whatever. But I got those on me when I'm going out wherever, because I'm just counting steps and just, dieting and whatever, and just self-improvement. And that's it. So I'm not even trying to like get the attention of going, like if somebody's going to, get attention to me, they got to tap on my shoulder or like stop in front of me to make me say hello. I mean, because I'm at that point now. I've become and it was so different for me before. Like I used to go ahead and swing and miss so constantly. I take the badge of rejection pretty strong. I've held on to it. I earned it. It's stitched on me for life. And why am I going to do that now? Like, listen, it's not even about being rejected anymore. Because I don't even think there will be a problem if you try to ask a girl out anymore. Because now the ulterior motive's in. So some girls will probably go ahead and say yes to you going out, asking them out. That's the problem. Now you ask them out. Oh, there's a different motive around it. Right? Because now the girl's not going to be with you for the necessity of, oh, well, there's a relationship possibly happening or there's an interest in you. No, it's an interest in what you're going to do for them. That's it. That's it. Now, another story came out from Vice that also talked about this, where maybe not everyone is destined to find someone romantic to spend their life with, and perhaps that's okay. Now, it's being encouraged. So in the story, they talk about the society supposedly still shames people for long-term singledom, making people who have found themselves without a romantic partner for a long time feel like it's something to hide. Well, now society regards they're chronically single. There's a difference on what happens, and that things have changed. One person they talk to says, I've been single all my adult life, which makes you feel like an outlier. Another one, I generally don't feel the stress of being single. Another one, imagine a pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. That's how it feels. Another one, I'm not a model, but I'm also not the monster from the Blue Lagoon. Black Lagoon. Black Lagoon is the answer. And that's where we are. It's like, now we're at the point where forever single is a thing. And it's not anything where you have to figure out and like there's something wrong with you and you have to like try to cope. No, not really at all. Now, listen. But the fact of the matter is, there's enough stuff that's on our minds or that can keep us busy, so I don't have to worry about being single. Let me tell you, when I started doing Uber 6 years ago, that really changed everything for me. Because 6 years ago, I would just go out, drive around, go to different places. And maybe I would try to go and like go to the mall, go to other places where I can go and meet girls, and I would try to talk. Those days are over. I'd rather just go and make a little bit of income extra on what I'm making because I got time. And trust me, if I'm doing the Uber, I'm not even thinking about talking to the girl in the back seat or, shotgun with me, driving her to her destination. That doesn't happen. Not even an interest. I think I gave a girl my number once. She never called, but that's all. But I also didn't even make the intonation we're going to go out. It's just like, let's talk sometime. I said, here's my number if you want to talk sometime. Give me a call. No, nothing. No text, no call, nothing. And I followed back up, but she didn't answer, But then people that go ahead and talk about how they're single and like, is therapy still a thing? Psychology, they actually asked about this too. Would I be happier single? And wondering if it's the right move. Now, studies are out there. They say that they can't tell if partner people are happier than singles. The other thing is the sides of the regret equation. Recent research suggests that people tend to experience deeper and more lasting regret for actions they didn't take as opposed to things they did and later regretted. I stopped getting the regret. I kind of just gave up on that. It wasn't really doing much for me. And then levels of nostalgia and sentimentality. So, yeah, going back to an earlier time in our lives when things felt more in place. Well, my problem is I don't have any experiences with any relationships that I can think about. I have moments. I don't have experiences. I've never fallen in love before. Like in love? No. And when I've said I love you to a girl, I know it's only just, at the surface. It's not anything more. It's not anything deeper than that. But that's where things are. It's like, okay. It sucks. But realize we're nearly at a place right now where that's how life is. Not much else has changed. And you know what? During the holidays, it's good to have a story like this. Go on the subject like this. Because there are a lot of single people out there that it doesn't matter anymore. And maybe it's just my cynicism that's gone to peak capacity. I know people have called me cynical for over a decade now. Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to deny that. But what else am I going to do? I just rather occupy my mind and stay a workaholic. I mean, that's just where I'm at. It doesn't make much of a difference anymore. Maybe things when I get older, but the whole thought about like living alone, I don't think it makes much of a difference now. I mean, even when people used to go ahead and get together for the sake of like, two income family, like, look, we can buy a house, we can buy cars, we can have, kids and we can raise them and we got the money for it. But nobody's doing that either. Nobody's doing that either. And so the real question is, as I wrap the show up, by the way, make sure to go ahead and find the show over on kingofpodcasts.com. And of course, YouTube, subscribe to the show. Please listen to the episodes. I put all of them up there at King of Podcasts. So please subscribe on YouTube. We're getting more subscribers, almost at 300 followers or 300 subscribers on YouTube. So please, I want to get to 500 so I can start monetizing. I know I keep it at 18 and up, so it's a little bit harder to get there. But like, if you're listening to the show, you catch these episodes, please subscribe to the feed. Even if you might not listen to it, you're going to catch something on your feed that you will catch on to. And you can also reach out to me because the YouTube channel and subscribing there, when you see my videos, it's so easy to feedback. And I will obviously read comments when I see them on there. When people are writing back to me. Like, I will totally do that. If you choose to. One story I didn't even bring up yet, but this is going back. Over a year ago. I talked about fictosexuality. And Raphael Tanguay, 2955, actually wrote back and says that Fictosexuality is healthy. Before I became fictosexual, I was suicidal, about to kill myself, but fictosexuality saved me. Besides, we could use soul bonding to bound with our walls. By the way, encouraging fictosexuality is a good thing because I believe that people like me would not be there today without my waifu, and believing that a part of men's suicide could be prevented with fictosexuality. And by the way, so fictosexuality, for those that are not aware, identity for someone who's mostly attracted to fictional characters. It can be from any media, but you have a strong emotional attachment. So we talked about that. By the way, you can find that episode on the YouTube channel at King of Podcasts. So go ahead and look for that. Oh, and then also the Roe Bash incident going back a couple of months ago. Tony G from Philly, I forgot to mention this too. An old adage that says, don't let your mouth sign checks your ass can't cash. I think that a lot of modern women do not understand that there is a physical strength pecking order among men that are blindly elbowing their way into. I don't condone physical violence, but it exists. It exists. So one should conduct oneself to avoid if one wishes to. That was a girl that, said she got hit with a brick. And, the way she was her manners when it was talking about the other guys and what she was doing around them, like slapping guys in the face. But obviously that was just for fun. That was just like a gimmick that she would do with guys on, when she was doing videos, content. Anyway, that's the show for tonight. Thanks for listening to the program, as you always do. And while you might be forever single, maybe there's something that'll happen where if you find a girl and you get to go ahead and she asks you out, hey, even if you don't get her for the relationship, maybe there's that slim chance you can be a little depraved and debaucherous.